What's up, co-reporters, and welcome back to my channel. I've got an update about Teen Mom 2 star Jace Evans and how he's doing. Unfortunately, it is not a good update, and it makes me quite sad to even have to report this. So, just to back things up, in case some of you are not aware, Jace Evans unfortunately recently ran away from his mother, Barbara Evans's home, and CPS allowed Barbara to be a guardian over Jace while this whole custody situation with Jenelle Evans remains up in the air, and David Eason, her disgraced dog killing husband, faces child abuse charges. And unfortunately, now Barbara's ability to take care of Jace has been stripped from her because of him running away just before the hearing to make their arrangement permanent. I do want to point out, though, you guys, that Jace running away from Barbara's place might have something to do with Jenelle allegedly refusing to allow him to be on his medication. Remember, one of the big issues that he was having, according to Barbara, was that Jenelle refused to allow him to take his medication, and she cut off his therapy sessions that he was going through under Barbara's custody. So now that CPS has Jace back in their own custody, TMZ is reporting that Jace is currently in the hospital, and that once he is out of the hospital, he will be going to stay with a foster family in foster care. And that just makes me nervous for him, because this is going to be the first time that 14-year-old Jace stays with a foster family. It's always been bouncing around between Barbara's place and then sometimes Jenelle's place for little weekends here and there. Then he had a couple months stint living with her full time, and obviously that did not turn out well. But now, for the first time ever, he is going to be living with strangers. And at 14 years old, that has got to be really, really shocking and devastating. And I do wonder, let me know if you guys work in this field. If that is the case, can they at this point say, you know what, we're going to put him back on the medication that he is accustomed to and see if that helps things? Because I really do feel like a lot of this comes down to that, unfortunately, right? So, like I said earlier, he still is in the hospital, and TMZ's sources are saying that Jace was recently in trouble for vaping at school. And again, that makes me sad. He's 14 years old. I don't understand why 14-year-olds need to smoke, vape, or any of that stuff. I thought that on our side in North America, it had been handled and the kids weren't really into that stuff. I know in my generation, I don't have any friends in Canada who like smoke or vape. But here in Europe, I know it's a big thing. I see the high school kids do it all the time, but it's still very, very sad. And then apparently, after he got in trouble for vaping at school, Barbara took away his phone, and that is when Jace ran away. And so Barbara had been told by Jenelle and CPS and the foster care team to not even give Jace a phone, but she thought that he could handle it. Here's the thing. I don't understand why taking away his phone is always the first thing that they go to when it comes to punishing him. I'm of the belief that typically the punishment has to fit the crime. So I do think that perhaps something else would have been a little bit more reasonable as a punishment for him being caught vaping at school. But I digress. And I guess, these days I heard the kids have like phone addictions, which I understand. As an adult, I think most of us have a phone addiction as well. And video game addictions, you know what I mean? So I guess like this phone, having to quit it cold turkey constantly, every time that happens, he runs away apparently. So yeah, honestly, it just feels like such a dramatic kind of way to handle this. But again, when you're 14 years old and your frontal cortex is not fully developed, you are kind of prone to making rash decisions. But this to me is very extreme. I feel like it had already been very well explained, or at least it should have been, to Jace, how serious it was for him to behave himself while at Barbara's home, and how his whole entire future hinges on him getting through these months, you know, with his head down, not getting into any kind of trouble. So it is just disappointing to see that this is what happened, because now, unfortunately, he's stuck in the hospital again. Then after that, he's going to be with a random family that's going to be opening up their home to him. And I think with this family, he's still not gonna have his phone. So now what? I don't know how that's gonna happen. You can't talk to your mom, Barbara, at all while you're over there, and I don't know, or your like girlfriend or friends or whatever it is that he's got on his phone that he really wants to speak with. So that is not where things kind of end there, you guys. According to TMZ's sources, this could actually get even worse if Jace continues to run away. So, for example, at this foster home, if he pulls this stunt again, things can get, even more illegal. In fact, TMZ's sources are saying that if Jace actually continues to run away, he can end up in a juvenile detention facility, which is basically jail for children. And I think that that's the last thing that he would want to have happen to him. But it's just so sad to see the course of his life play out like this. I say this every time I make a video about Jace, that it's really hard to be harsh on him, because when you look at his life from the very beginning, from the day that Jenelle announced that she was pregnant, you look at that girl and you go, oof, no child born by this girl, I'm sorry, is going to live a good life, and then you see the way he grew up with all the yelling, Jenelle constantly running out of the house on him chasing behind her as a baby, crying at the door, and she never even looked back, all the trauma that comes with that, or her carrying him and screaming in his ear as she screams at her mom right next to her and whatnot, right? There's just so much trauma that this child has gone through from the very beginning, even in utero, because I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, Jenelle was accused of, I believe it was reported, and this was many years ago, Jace is 14 years old now, but it was reported that he had been born with like marijuana in his system or something like that, allegedly. So all this stuff started very, very early for him. And I feel like anyone could have guessed that his future would be a little bit more complicated and not as linear as other children's. So yeah, just keep that in mind, you guys. At the end of the day, Jace had a rough go. He had a rough start, and he was dealt a very, very difficult deck of hands. And I don't know how long he's expected to stay with this foster family, but to be honest with you guys, I wouldn't be surprised if he ran away again. And I'm scared that that really will lead to him ending up in the juvenile detention facility, and that will be the start of a very long life like that, when he's an adult as well. And it just makes me sad. I was really hoping for some kind of like military school, something like that to help with discipline. But I feel like that's what he needs. But hopefully this foster family that he is going to has, a very strong father figure for Jace, and a strong and healthy disciplined father figure for Jace, because I think that that's what he needs at the end of the day. And I feel so sad for Barbara as well. Remember, Jenelle and her husband David, who has actually been criminally charged with allegedly abusing Jace and is about to face those charges in court, they laughed when they heard that this boy ran away from home. And now when you hear about how high stakes this is, how he can potentially go to juvie, and how he's going to be isolated in a home with people he doesn't know or anything like that, and how scary and traumatic that must be for a little 14-year-old, it just makes you so damn sick to your stomach, just looking at these images, the Cardi B thing that Jenelle posted saying, haha, yes, if only you knew. And then David with his Where's Waldo joke, as if he doesn't, have a charge to answer for and everything like that. Thank God, at the very least, that Jay still has a no contact order with Jenelle and David. David is not allowed to even breathe near this boy. And Jenelle is only allowed to speak to him when he reaches out to her. And he still hasn't done that. Meanwhile, she's over here bragging like him running away again reflects well on her, when it really doesn't, especially when you consider the fact that she also is allegedly withholding his medication from him and everything. It's so sad, honestly. I wish they gave tests or something, aptitude tests, or just something before people had kids, just so that, more kids could grow up the way they deserve, and, love and positivity and just, with bright futures, right? Not full of trauma and sadness and just neglect, the way that these children have unfortunately been raised. It just makes me so sad. I'm so sorry to announce this, you guys, but that's the news. That's the update I've got about Jace's situation right now. I really hope that he doesn't run away. I hope he stays on the straight and narrow. But to be honest, even if he did run away, I would totally understand, because now he's got literally no connection to his one and only mom, Barbara Evans. And he's still not going to be, I don't think, on the proper medication that he needs. He's still not getting the therapy that he had been used to all these years. So to me, it seems like a no-brainer. I'm scared that the next time I announce, it's going to be heavier, either the juvie thing or something else. And I'm really, really sad and scared about that. But that's the update for now. Okay, you guys, let me know what you think about all of this in the comment section down below. And as usual, we'll chat. That's all for now. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.